All right, thank you guys for joining us for episode 27 of Black Coffee and Crime. We are here for yet another week. This week, we're going to talk about serious mayhem and craziness in this world. Of course, we're going to bring you church announcements, the shit that we find on Al Gore's internet, and we're going to talk about this guy who is evil as fuck. I mean, that's all I got. This guy. I saw a documentary on him a long time ago. A couple years ago, because his crimes are really not that old. But recently, he's shown up on TikTok. So this is what we're doing the story of. He's shown up in TikTok, and I will try to find that video or the multiple duets and stitch videos from TikTok. You can see the evil gaze of Nikko Jenkins. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So I just wanted to, for the people on social media, to know who this guy is with this very evil, sinister look. I mean, yeah, so I will send you guys that the TikTok video so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So we'll get to that. So as always, we start off with introductions. This week, Brandy is joining us by voice only. So we won't see that wonderful face, but Jackie is here as well as myself. So if you guys don't know us, we are just some nosy ass people. We are not law enforcement professionals. We are not none of that. We're just nosy people. So we find stories that we want to talk about. We do want to tell you. So if we do misspeak or we, juxtapose names or some dates, we're not doing that on purpose or out of any malicious intent. If there's information that we missed or think that you would like for us to add on the next show, anything like that, let us know. You can email us at info@blackcoffeecrime.com or hit us up in the comments on YouTube, Instagram at Black Coffee and Crime, also on our Facebook page of the same name. All right. So, church announcements. These are the announcements as follows. Always obey your ushers, respect your pastor. In light of the story this week on Nikko Jenkins, we are suspending all prison ministries in Omaha.
Yes. Period.
We ain't going to Nebraska. I mean, not that we were going to Nebraska, but the Lord has a long-reaching hand. However, we are not going to hold that hand in Nebraska. We ain't going. We ain't going. It's snow, corn, and Nikko Jenkins. We ain't going, y'all. If you go down the rabbit hole, which is YouTube, even the TikTok video, if you look at this man, you'll know that something is wrong. And then when you really find out, no.
No.
No. I mean, I have seen a lot of things, in my nosiness, and Nikko Jenkins is one of the scariest ones. So, like I said, our prison ministries in Nebraska have been indefinitely suspended. We wish y'all luck. However, y'all got demons in Nebraska and we ain't trying to wake them up. So there's that. We are going to also continue to pray for everybody. You can contact your neighbors, your loved ones, call them, send an email, write a letter, send a card, whatever. Make sure you keep in contact with people because right now, there's 1 million confirmed cases of COVID in Los Angeles County right now. 1 million cases.
Wow.
With over 13,000 people who has lost their lives to this. So those people that you don't keep in contact with, check on them, make sure they're still there. Extend a little bit of compassion.
Don't be ignorant. Wear your mask.
Yeah, wear your mask.
I'm not saying if you forget, we're not talking about those because we do it. We're talking about people ignorant enough to think that you just don't because you. No, put your mask on and be courteous to everyone else because if you walk around me and you got too much mask, you're going to have to hear my mouth because I don't want COVID.
Yeah. And it's if you're going in and out of the store, it's an inconvenience, but I mean, so is parking, 3 rows back at Walmart. It's whatever. So just do it. Get your stuff and get the hell out of the store. Don't deliberately be an ass and walk around the store trying to intimidate people or scare them. Or if you do not choose to wear a mask, how about this? If you choose not to wear a mask and you don't believe or you have a conspiracy theory about COVID-19, keep that to yourself. Don't shame people for wearing masks. Don't shame people for being, cautious of this. Just extend some compassion and some empathy to your fellow human. That's it. Just they're human. They need compassion. We deserve it. So Those are the church announcements as follows. Governor supporting. All right. Okay, this is on Al Gore's internet. I found this. Okay, so 2020 has been a bad year for the military bases in Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in April, we had the Vanessa Guillen murder. She was missing for about a month. Found out that she had been bludgeoned to death and burned by a fellow soldier and a former soldier's wife. Well, there's been like 9 or 10 other cases coming out of hell. What is the base out there in Killeen?
Fort Hood.
Fort Hood. Yes. So there's about 9 or 10 cases coming out of Fort Hood. So much stuff has been going on in Fort Hood, so much that the Department of Defense has basically taken over. The commander, whatever he is out there, I don't know the military terminology. He's lost his job, lost a promotion, been kind of bumped down through the ranks. It's been really bad out there at Fort Hood. But guess what? Texas is not done, because I found a story about Fort Bliss, which is in El Paso.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a soldier, Christian Alvarado, Private First Class Christian Alvarado, has been accused of raping 3 women in 2019. 2 of the women are unidentified. Well, they've been identified, but we don't know their names. We're not giving up their names. So May 8th of 2019, there was a rape of a woman. I'll keep saying unidentified woman in El Paso. August 26th, also 19, another rape near Fort Bliss. And then on December 30th of that same year, Asia Graham, who's also private first class, stationed at Fort Bliss, she was sexually assaulted and raped while she was unconscious, maybe under the influence of something. She was found the next day unresponsive, and she died on the base. And they have tied Mr. Alvarado to at least her sexual assault. The story, which came from military.com, did not specify whether or not they were tying him to the murder at this point, but definitely to the sexual assault. So I was like, what the heck is going on? I know that sexual assault, and there's a lot of cases at other military bases worldwide. We know this, and they largely go unreported because, they're reported, but some of them aren't really looked at or worked on or, whatever, prosecuted. But this gentleman is up for court-martial. So they are going to court-martial him. In the article, it did say, of course, he's innocent until proven guilty. These are just accusations at this point. But it's interesting that in this last year, oh my God, my nose is starting already. Jesus, we ain't even got to the end of the show yet. It's interesting to know about what is going on in Texas. I mean, we had conspiracy theories that there was a serial killer near Fort Hood, but really, Fort Hood, if you guys are familiar with Texas, El Paso is way west, almost to the border of New Mexico, and Fort Hood is in South Texas. So it's what's going on in Texas, Jack? What's going on in our great state of Texas? I don't understand.
A lot of secrets that nobody will ever find out, that no one will ever know. A bunch of nasty, disgusting perverts, and people, women who are not being respected in the army or in.
It might be the military culture at that base.
But these are 2 different bases. So we've got Fort Bliss and then Fort Hood.
Same thing. Mm-hmm. You know what? It could be the culture of military, period.
But there have been so many people who were killed at Mount Hood that, I mean, it's just like, oh, here's another one. At this point, it's not like even a shock.
Right. Right, because even when they were looking for Vanessa Guillen, they found a body of a soldier who had been missing for an entire year. Even in this case, This case right here, there's another soldier. I for whatever reason I didn't write it down, but in that article there was another soldier that they found that had, that had been missing. There's another soldier that's missing.
I guess we're so shocked because you don't hear about it.
Yeah, and we're right here. But it's crazy that in the military, where all the I's have to be dotted and all the T's have to be crossed, that you're missing a soldier.
Yeah.
In the United States. On a base.
Don't add up.
Yeah, the math is not there because you're in Texas, and I get that El Paso is the landscape of El Paso is very unforgiving, whether it's winter or summer. However, and very close to the Mexican border, Juarez is right there. But still, you can't find a soldier that on a military base, the United States military base,
a soldier that's obligated to check in with you daily. That's the obligation.
I don't buy that this is accidental or.
And I'm just gonna jump out on the ledge. In order for it to even progress as long as they have, we're talking about all the way up in the ranks. Somebody know. We're talking about they know up there. Because in order for it to progress daily, and go on for
months
years,
and months. Like with Vanessa,
they know up there. Trust me.
And Vanessa Guillen, in those 9 or 10 cases that came out of Fort Hood, especially the guy that was missing for a year, and they found him before they found in the search for Vanessa. Y'all were lying to the parents and to the families for their loved ones, and you're like, oh, they're basically stalling. And so why are you stalling? What did you do? This is not the missing keys. This is not you misplaced you took $20 out your mom's wallet. This is a whole human that is missing. Let me turn my phone off before I get some calls. A whole missing human, and yeah, we're not.
Everybody know. They know. It's just a big old bunch of secrets. Everybody acting like they don't understand what's going on. No, they know.
The military will not.
If you've ever met anybody who is from the Army, they will tell you, you don't talk about it. You don't talk about nothing. You have to be quiet. You can maybe bring up brief things, like my uncle. He brings up brief things, like, yeah, we had to shoot guns. But if you try to ask him deep questions, like, okay, so like, what really be going on in there? Do y'all really be knowing about secret stuff going on? Do y'all really just? They'd be like, we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about it.
We don't talk about that.
Interesting. I have a great uncle, my Uncle Freeman Carter, who enlisted in 1953 or 1952 or 1953. So he was in Korea during the Korean War. I knew I had an Uncle Freeman Carter. Never met Uncle Freeman Carter. My mother never met him. He died a couple months before my mother was born. My grandmother had this plaque or certificate from the Army. And I would always, and I have an uncle, so she named her son after her. And I would always ask her about him, and she would just clam up. She wouldn't talk about him. I was just curious. Like, I know all these other uncles, because she had a plethora of brothers, but I didn't know him, and no one ever talked about him. And so a couple of years ago, I got curious. I was on Ancestry.com, and I found just a little snippet where my great-grandmother had applied to the military to have his designation put on his headstone. That's it. So he died. I didn't know where he died, how he died, what happened. I had always assumed that living in Alabama, maybe he was one of those soldiers who came home in a uniform and was somehow lynched, or there was some sort of foul play stateside. Well, I did find out that he actually died on an army base in Germany in 1955, February of 1955. I applied for records so I could find out how he died, what were the circumstances, and basically I got a letter that we could confirm that yes, he was alive and he died here. That's it. They were basically like, you are not the next of kin. I was like, well, at the time, he only had 3 remaining siblings.
Mm-hmm.
And I explained that I am the granddaughter of his sister. Didn't work. And it's one of those things that, he's been dead for 60 years, yet you still can't tell me how he died. What were the circumstances behind his death when the war was over?
Mm-hmm.
This was post-Korean War. And there's you can't tell me how he died, which is crazy to me, because if it was natural causes, you could just say that. So if it was an exercise or whatever, you could just say that. But they are really tight-lipped, and unfortunately, because of the way that my grandmother kept shutting me down, I have never had the courage to ask any of the remaining siblings what happened to him, because I figured if it was painful enough for them not to say it then I definitely don't want to say it now. I have an uncle. My uncle John is 70s, in his late 70s, and the other remaining brother, my uncle David, is in his 80s. I want to know, but I don't want them to have to tell me.
Yeah.
I just don't want to bring up something so painful that they've kind of suppressed for the last 65 years.
Aww. Yeah.
Well, they're from that generation where you don't talk about that stuff.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
you never know, in their older years, they might, they open up a little bit more, and, you might want to just ask just to see.
Yeah. I don't
know. They'll tell you, if they die, nobody knows.
But here's the thing, though. If they pass away, then maybe I'll be able to find out, because at this point, they're deceased. He has no remaining siblings, and he didn't have any children. So maybe at that time, it's morbid to think about it, but at that time, I'd be able to find out, because there's no remaining siblings, and there's nothing to impede me from being able to find out at that point. And I also won't have to cause them any unnecessary, trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so the military ain't budging. 60-some years later, they not budging on nothing. So yeah, so we definitely hard to find out why someone is missing on a military base stateside, and we can't find them for a whole year.
We tread real lightly. Mm-hmm. You remember we had told people don't go to Fort Hood last year. You go pay. You just drive straight past it. Don't stop.
You can push
just
it. Go. And when you in El Paso, don't go near Fort Bliss either.
Yeah, just don't stop. Nowhere, no bases in Texas right now.
Oh,
just go.
Isn't there Air Force Base in Abilene? Go past that too.
Go past all bases. Just go and go.
Don't even do it.
Don't stop.
Mm-mm. And unfortunately, if you're in Austin or San Antonio, you got a military base at every corner. You got more military bases in San Antonio than you have McDonald's.
Yep.
And you remember when we were working, it was like we're moving to San Antonio. We're like, okay, so were you at San Houston? Were you at Rock? Lackland? Where are you going? Where are you going? Because we need to know. So there's about, I think, there's a whole handful of military bases in San Antonio, in the Austin area. So don't go there either. Beautiful place, but don't go there. Okay. Military bases in Texas are dangerous. So sorry for anybody I've offended, but they're dangerous because you can see it. All right. Let's see. So we said we're going to continue to talk about this insurrection. The inauguration is this week, y'all. On January 20th, which is what is that? Thursday, Friday? Let's see.
Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday.
Right before choir rehearsal and Bible study, we're gonna have an inauguration.
They need to just go ahead and pull that thing inside. I mean, why I just don't feel good about them doing it outside. Why they can't just pull it on inside service?
I don't know. It's there's word out, like, do not go near any state capitals. They're going to storm state capitals in all 50 states. Also, there's a rumor that the KKK or white supremacists will be trying to kidnap Black women. So I don't know how true that is, but a rumor is a rumor, and it's enough to be cautious. So be very aware of yourself at all times. Any women of color, please be.
Well, Newsweek said for Muslims and African Americans to not go to the Capitol.
Yeah, but in your everyday meanderings out in the world, please be careful. Be hypersensitive, hyper aware of what's going on around you. If you need to stay in the store a little bit longer, then do that. When the guy at the grocery store asks you, can I walk you to your car? Please say yes. If it's the grocery store guy, let him walk you to your car and put your groceries in your car. And just be vigilant.
Grocery shop on Tuesday.
Instacart it.
Do it.
Instacart it.
That's all it will be. It will. I know it's going to be crazy. Yes. I know it.
Purchase your groceries and do curbside.
And I'm talking about everywhere. It will be crazy. Yeah. I stay in Rowlett, and they are still doing Trump parades. Every Sunday, they are doing Trump parades. So it will be crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I live, I don't live in South Dallas, but it's like Dallas County, South. So I live in a little suburb in South Dallas County. And months ago, before the election, there was a rally at Friendship West Baptist Church. And let me tell you, Freddie Haynes went down there and wrecked shop because they basically took over the parking lot. Now, if you're familiar with this area, Friendship West, as you go down 20,
mega church.
It's a mega church. You can see the spire of this church miles and miles away. But what he does have on the side of the building facing that freeway is a big ass Black Lives Matter sign. So this Trump organization decided they were going to have a rally in the parking lot of his church. And they had
didn't he have an event going on or something?
He had an event. They had a representative that was a Black guy approach Freddie Haynes in the church, the people at the church, and said they were going to do this rally or whatever. So basically they lied to him. So he's like, yeah, you can do it, whatever. It's the parking lot. No one's going to be there that Saturday. Well, the newsvans were out there. They had
wait. I'm sorry. I'll be processing things slowly. You mean to tell me the rally, I didn't even know this. They sent a fake person in there to set him up?
It was a Black guy. The Black guy was actually at the rally.
I did not know that.
Freddie Haynes approached this guy and was like, you really think I would have signed off on this? Like, Freddie Haynes went down there. So the Black guy was like, well, I told you, So he was the face of the, like the dude from Django. And so they had like this car parade. And I remember that day because I was in the area and I was like, what's going on? I live like 2 miles away from that church. And I was over there and I was like, what the hell is going on over here? Something's going on at this church. There's Trump flags at Friendship West. So it was crazy.
And I was on my way on 67 to Cedar Hill. And, you can see Friendship West right off of 20. So I was like, what they doing over there? I thought they was having like a concert. I'm like,
no, that was a rally that day. So I can imagine that was months ago. So
I was like, Lord.
Yeah. So I can imagine what you go through. We don't really see in where I live, don't really see that out here. Largely,
but I'm in the.
It's really an African American city mainly. So you don't really see that.
I'm and more this side.
You a Trump country, love.
I'm like flat middle.
Listen, I've been in your house.
Literally my neighbor. Yeah, she has her flag still flying.
Yeah, she's in your house. And I wouldn't want to drive out that night.
But it's all on their cars. It's all up in their yards. They are all the neighbors up. Yeah, so I'm right in the center. So I already can imagine that the rednecks will be definitely showing out. So I'm staying in.
Do you shopping on
I think if they could come up with some new flags that say 2021 on them.
Yeah.
It's using them old 2020 flags.
Girl, these are the same people who fly Confederate flags, and that war been lost for 100 and something years. So
now the folks moved down to the insurrection. They asking Trump for pardons because I'm going to go to prison.
How many presidential pardons are you allowed? I thought there was a limit on how many presidential pardons you could get.
I don't know, but folks is offering money now. I don't know if she offering no money.
Offering bribes to be pardoned?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
Baby, when you see them people, how they been acting up there at them airports, when they realize they on the no-fly list, baby, they crying. I'm talking about they falling out. Please.
I love all of you guys. I didn't even, you know what's funny, because this is the same people who, in 2016, I voted for Trump because he said he were going to get rid of the bad people, and then you crying when your Mexican husband got deported. I thought he was going to get rid of the bad people. No, sweetheart, you're not exempt because you're white.
Right.
So now the same thing is happening. You went there and you had all these grand intentions, like Lizzie from Knoxville. And I'm gonna use her as an example for everything in my whole life forever. Lizzie from Knoxville. You thought that you were going to be exempt, but here's the thing. The way I heard it is that the I don't want to call them stewardesses. What are they called now? They're not
flight attendants.
The flight attendant union are the people who helped to flag those who were going to that rally. And then also Parler, when they started shutting down that website or the app for Parler, that shut down all their securities. And I think I put this, I found that on TikTok, and I did go ahead and put that on our Instagram page. So that shut down their securities, and they compile their data. So you have to like use your license when you register for Parler, which is dumb. I ain't giving my license number for Instagram, but so they do that. And so they knew, because you have to use your license to get on the airplane. So they knew who was going to Washington, D.C. at the time. So they were able to flag all those people. So now you're on a no-fly list. You cannot. And
like Brandy said, they are asking for pardons. Like, they heavy on it too. Like,
they're saying that Trump and Ted Cruz told us to come.
Yeah, they told us.
So they don't understand why they don't understand. Apparently,
I don't either.
So, again, this is privilege, textbook privilege, is that he said I could do this. Listen, that man ain't no more studying y'all than the man on the moon. He is not concerned about anything except for himself and moving to Florida, trying to stay out of New York so he can, outrun an indictment. Also, Nancy Pelosi, they called for the impeachment. He's been impeached by the House. Senate vote is coming up. Now, very interesting. Mike Pence declined to invoke the 25th Amendment, right? Well, in the 22nd Amendment, there's language in there that basically says insurrection, betrayal, treason. He can still be removed. Mike Pence can be removed. If you don't remove him, we will.
Period.
Basically, the language in there and what Nancy Pelosi is saying is you need to surrender him or we will come get him. And that is
straight like that.
That is language from like 1860s or something.
Why she wore her second out? Why she wore the same outfit to the same impeachment to make a scene to let you know she not playing with you?
Can we talk about the impeachment dress?
I mean, she knew we knew it was the same dress. It was like to let you know, look, we're gonna do this again.
Listen, everybody has a little black dress, right?
Yes.
It's an impeachment dress.
Yeah,
I need a dress that says she means business. I need an impeachment dress.
That's what it's a bitch. You tried it dress. I'm talking about. She knew we knew. And she stood there flat-footed in the front.
Girl, you know what? I knew Nancy Pelosi was a bad bitch when she stood up in the State of the Union and she clapped like this right here. I was like, that's a bad bitch right there. Y'all quit fucking around with Nancy. Y'all quit fucking with Nancy. Nancy be having tea with Auntie in LA. Quit fucking with Nancy. Okay? Her and Maxie be having tea. Quit messing with them old ass women. Quit. When Nancy did this right here, I said, okay.
Yeah.
And came out with her impeachment dress. I said, she's my idol. Her politics might be a little questionable, but give her flowers. Give her things right now. Okay? Allow her things right now.
Right now.
Give her things. So I'm I am going to be on the lookout for an impeachment dress, y'all. And if you see me wear this dress 5 times during the year, don't say nothing. Just understand that I am on my way to handle some business, okay? So, my impeachment dress, I'm going to need that. What is going on? I know. Okay. All right. So, we are done with stuff on Al Gore's internet. Now, let's talk about evil ass Nikko Jenkins. Okay. I don't even know if it's kind of like when you like invoke a demon, I think I need to burn some sage first. Because I'm not sure what's going to happen with this. But Nikko Jenkins is one of the most evil looking people that I've ever seen.
Yes, Lord.
And his persona backs it up. Like, you've seen Charles Manson. But you kind of see Charles Manson as a comic, like a caricature. He did things over the top. He has like the little cross and swastika on his forehead, and you knew that Charles Manson was doing things he's a provocateur. He did things with a purpose to get people to do things and to get a reaction. Not that he wasn't a bad person. I don't necessarily think that Charles Manson was that damn evil. I just think that he was a provocateur and very smart and very manipulative, and to get people. And he got off on that. Ted Bundy, same thing. You see Ted Bundy, but he was evil, but you don't see the evilness in his face until you look in his eyes. So there's been a couple of killers that you wouldn't want to sit across from, like Anton Chikatilo from Russia. You wouldn't want to sit across from him. You think he's actually going to, dust your hand with some tahini and, take a bite, which he probably would have. But Nikko Jenkins. Okay, so a couple years ago, I did see, I don't know if it was ID Channel or something like that, about Nikko Jenkins, and I think it was ID Channel, and it talked about like he killed 4 people, but there's been a lot of people who've killed 4 people. But the problem with Nikko Jenkins is he's very smart, and he's a whole damn psycho, like for real.
They tried to say that he had a low IQ, 69.
I don't know what someone with a 59 IQ score would be able to manipulate people the way that he does. He manipulates people in the same way that Edward Kemper manipulated the people at a Testadero.
That's a master.
Edmund Kemper was like 14 when he killed his grandparents.
That's a master manipulator.
Right. He killed his grandparents when he was like 14, and then he convinced the doctors at I think it was a Testadero, that he was well enough to get out because he mastered the test. So he was very manipulative. So Edmund Kemper has one of the highest IQs ever recorded. Genius level, past genius level. And Nikko Jenkins, I would argue, his IQ might not be high, but his level of
his thought process made him. That's where it is. It's his thought process, because in order for you to be able to successfully get away with your crimes, to be able to calculate his every movement on what he needs to do, what he needs to say, not just at the beginning. He's been doing this for years. And he's been dedicated and committed. A story hasn't changed. Nothing has different.
He's never apologized.
The exact same thing. So that's why I was like, this dude is smarter than they're giving him credit for.
But also, too, you have to think about, and I guess we can get into the particulars of the dates and stuff in a minute. But one of the things that let's preface this, y'all. We are having an unscripted conversation, and as in unscripted conversations, we are all over the place. So follow along. We'll give you dates in a minute, and then we'll also point you to some places where you can actually get some. Yeah, but we just have a conversation. That's what we do. We talk. All right. So you also have to think about that Nikko Jenkins might have been born fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Because his whole family, y'all, he is like the whole family. Mama, sister, cousin, uncles, everybody has a rap sheet. And it's not for petty crimes. These people were like a den of snakes.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry if you are a family of Nikko Jenkins, but yeah. It's a lot of people in this family who have committed multiple crimes. And
if you're not his family, you already know that. So sorry.
And even in these crimes in the summer of 2013, his mother, his sister, and his cousin all were accomplices in those 4 murders. And an uncle, I think. An uncle helped to carjack, was in the car when they carjacked the car, and Andrea Kruger was killed. So, yeah, it's a family business. I mean, you know, you got killer families like the Barkers and stuff like that from the 30s, but these people, this is different. So you have to think like, not only was it this is not a case of nature versus nurture. This is both.
Yep.
Because it could have been in his nature to be a psychopath, but it was also nurtured. Girl, your skin is beautiful. Quit rubbing it. It was also nurtured in his family. Girl, you're just beautiful, just shining and stuff. I see it.
Oh, that's oil.
So, yeah, it's crazy that his family fed into that. They couldn't have been scared of him because they were all doing the same damn thing.
Sad, actually. Okay, well, we'll probably get into it.
Okay, so
okay,
so Nikko was born, and you know I don't really like giving all these damn dates, but we're gonna do this. Nikko was born September 16th, 1986. So he ain't that old, y'all. Now he was also his life of crime started really, really early. So by the time he was 15, he had received a 21-year sentence for carjacking and other crimes. 15 years old.
15.
So he had been in prison. Now, mind you, he's 15. Goes to prison for 21 years. He gets convicted. He's sentenced to 21 years. He gets out in 10 and a half years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So he's 25, 26 years old. A month after being released in 2013 is when he committed these crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 30 days. Y'all, he didn't even have enough time to go to the post office and apply to get his mail forward. His free trial for AOL Messenger was still valid. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't have, you know what I'm saying? Like you get a trial for something, you know, all of that. Like what is it? The BMG music for CDs that was still valid. Yeah. Still receiving CDs from them. All of that. Like he still had free trials of products that he couldn't even cancel because. I'm just trying to put things in context when it comes to the amount of time that he had between the time he got out and the time he started committing murders. You know, you got a 30-day trial for AOL.
Man, who talks about oh my God, man.
Yeah, he didn't even have enough time to get his Cash App card.
Girl. You know,
you don't like this, man.
You know it don't take long for Cash App. You know it don't take long. You know it don't take long. So I'm just trying to put it in context on how quickly this man exited prison and then committed 4 murders. So he got the CD from AOL because think about it, he had been in prison for like 10 and a half years. So he probably still had that AOL CD. He was like,
boy, I used to go to Walmart and get them discs like crazy.
Yes, every 30 days. You'd be like, another one.
No, give me another disc.
That's why I don't understand how AOL ever made any money because ain't nobody ever paid for AOL.
Never. I do mean never.
Oh, we was all up in it.
Jesus.
So he went into prison when MySpace and all these things were popular, when you still had a 25-foot telephone cord around the house, and you still had dial up and all of that. That he must have, if he was born in 1986, then yeah. So it was the early 2000s. So he had no time to do nothing. This brother didn't have time to do anything. So he's in prison.
You already missed from 15 to 20, 22, 23? Mm-hmm. You already missed all that right there.
So formative years, the years where you form your peer bonds, you go through sexual development, especially as a young man. All of these things, he experienced these things when he was, out. He experienced these things in probably a very toxic environment within his family and his peer group outside of prison. But then you go into prison, and that environment is in a vacuum, and all sorts of nasty shit happens when you're in prison. So all of those things it's both your development is accelerated, but it's also stunted because it's not organic. So you are forced to grow up fast, do things that could be questioned or are questionable, especially with someone who's already psychotic. So he gets out. Of course, he forms some bonds and friendships or associations in prison. The bad part is two of the people that he bonded with, he killed when he got out.
Pretty much.
He killed them. So these deaths happened all within the month of August. In 1 month, he kills 4 people in a killing spree. He does enlist the help of his sister, his mom, his sister Erica, his mother, and his cousin, and then his uncle in a carjacking, which Andrea Kruger dies. Yeah. So this is the way it happens, because what we're really talking about is, we don't want to, of course, diminish the victims, but we really want to just talk about this dude. So the first murder was Curtis Bradford the first 2 murders were Jorge Ruiz and Juan Pena. Now he had in August 11th of 2013. Now they both died headshots, by headshots, gunshot wounds to the head. Took me a while to get that out. He had actually been incarcerated with, I think it was Jorge Ruiz. And they set them up. The sister and the cousin set them up. They acted as prostitutes to lure them, and then they killed them. Then the next one was Curtis Bradford, also prison associate of Nikko. They killed him too. But he had just taken a photo with this guy the day before. There was something about, he suspected that Bradford had done something to him or something minor. But yeah, he had taken a picture. It was uploaded to Facebook the day before he killed him. The last person was Andrea Kruger, who just really housewife, mother of 3 or 4 kids. She was literally in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was a victim of chance. They needed a car. They carjacked her. They killed her. Did they keep the car for 2 hours or 2 days, B?
It was like a couple hours.
Yeah. And the uncle, one of his uncles was actually with them when they did the carjacking. So it's like a family affair. His mother, what is his mom's name?
Not the mama.
The mama, girl. The mama. His mother actually helped. His mother's name is Lori. She actually helped him with ammunition and weapons.
That's horrible.
Now, as a mom, we're all moms. You guys are moms and boys. But even my daughter, you're supposed to protect your child. Right. But if I watching DFW4 News And I see my daughter's face across the screen. They're like, she's committed murder. I'm trying to call her, like, what happened, what you do. And if it's, especially if I know that she's the type of child that I have, and I know she did it, listen, you can't be here. I'm not gonna put finger on you, but you cannot be here. I cannot help you with this. I cannot, because you did this. It hurts, but you need to pay for it. You did this. But this mama, she took mothering to a higher level and said, you know what? I got you.
Let's do it.
I got you. This is mothering to the 10th.
Yeah, let's do it. Come on.
Let's do it. Now there isn't much information about his father. I don't know if his father cut ties with him and said, I'm out because, family or whatever. His father's name was David McGee. Mom named Laura Jenkins. So I'm assuming that the Jenkins side of the family is the one with the hella long rap sheets. I'm assuming that. I'm not saying that. I'm assuming, just assuming that. Because we be getting in trouble for stuff we say. So I'm just careful when we get in trouble. So I don't I don't want to upset anybody. So the murder of Ruiz is Pena and Ruiz. They're both shot in the head. They were robbed, and they were lured because they thought that they were going to, be with the prostitutes, who happened to be played by Erica Jenkins and their cousin. So they were killed, and then Curtis Bradford was working at a store, and they shot him 2 bullets. And then Andrea Krieger, because she was returning home from work, and it was random.
Yep.
Now, 2.5 hours is how long they kept that car.
A life for 2.5 hours.
Or a ride. You could have pushed that woman out of the car. You could have done anything, yet you did this. Now,
I would be pissed looking from the other side. Like, these mother killed me for 2. They could have kept the car for 2 hours. I don't care. You gonna kill me for 2 hours? I'm pissed.
So he was actually, when they caught him, he was actually arrested on a non like the crimes weren't even non-related crime. But they had evidence, and so they were able to stack it up and say that he did these murders. Because they had him on camera. Mm-hmm. He said in the interview that the murders were a sacrifice to Apophis, some ancient Egyptian deity. Now, this is the same deity that made him, once he was convicted and he was in prison, made him split his tongue to appear serpent-like, and also split the head of his penis to do the same.
Nasty. And snort his judge. That's what they call it on the thing. Snorted judge. And snort his poo.
So and basically, he was drinking his urine, defecating in his cell, doing a sniff test, and then also doing the same to his judge. Mm-hmm. I don't know. He was checking. I don't know what. He also repeatedly cut himself. Now he was on a 23-hour. Well, he was locked up for 23 hours, so it was basically confined for 23 hours a day. And they cut him every 15 minutes. Yet he was somehow still able to get razor blades and cut himself. So, like, if you can see the progression of his face,
it's scary.
Like, he starts off bad because he has tattoos everywhere, but then he has all these scars and stuff. And then you can see where he's a very fair-skinned young man, and he was trying to carve like 666 and Satan into his face, and so now he has all these red marks in his face. And so the judge is like, how is he getting these? Like, who's giving it to him? Is he getting this food? Like, how is he getting these razor blades?
Like he don't know that jail and prison got contraband everywhere.
Right.
Let me tell you something. I got peoples who will tell you whatever you want, it will come through there.
Girl, I have talked to people in prison on a phone that has better reception and a better camera than mine, okay? And I have an iPhone.
On the phone.
And I'm talking to them. I'm like, did you get out? Like, no, I'm still here. Here go my Sally. Hey. And the reception is clear and everything.
Yeah.
How do you get this?
What you say? Did you get out?
You've seen things where I saw this thing where this guy had like Chick-fil-A. He had like a platter of Chick-fil-A nuggets and he was in prison. Like he had delivered. This guy had Zaxby's. In prison, I can't even get Zaxby's.
Oh.
Well, they have like a special day or something where folks come in. I mean, the prices are ridiculous.
But Brady, he had it in his cell. It wasn't in the rec room. He had Chick-fil-A.
What else is he gonna eat?
Brady, you're not supposed to be able to bring that stuff back to your cell.
You can't be taking it out, eating it out in the whatever the cafeteria area.
But I'm saying, like, if it's visitation, then yes, people can bring you stuff during visitation. But of course, those things have to be searched, and you can bring like outside stuff. That used to be the way. You can bring outside stuff during those visitation hours, and they can eat it like when you're in the visitation.
I think they may have more control if they eat in their cell.
Huh?
I think they have more control if they're eating it in their cell than if they're out eating it like at the table or something.
But again, I'm not saying they're eating it in the rec yard or in the caf.
That would start a riot or something. Somebody trying to snatch up somebody's food. That would cause an issue. You take your stuff, go eat it in, just like you get your package or whatever, your snack stuff, and you take it to yourself.
It doesn't work like that. If you receive anything during your visitation hour, so say if I have a significant other, which I don't, in prison, and I go visit him and they are allowing me to bring outside food into the prison, that food or whatever I'm bringing is searched thoroughly.
Yeah, I know, but they have special days that they don't have them often where real food like Pizza Hut or something, Burger King or whatever, will come to the prison and sell to the inmates. And it's crazy marked up, but they have special days where Chick-fil-A, like you gave example of Chick-fil-A, will come and sell to the inmates. Like how we used to have what was the club day? A club at lunch?
Yeah.
And people would bring food and sell it to us at high price. Mm-hmm. They do that in the prisons. Like they'll have once a quarter or something. KFC, somebody will roll up to the prison and sell to the inmates.
That's a good Alabama stuff. I think that's a great initiative.
No, they do it in California. They do it in California for sure.
Maybe if they do well long enough, I think that's a good initiative. Actually,
I mean, you're gonna pay like probably $40 for your pizza, or your sandwich from Chick-fil-A probably gonna be $15, but they do have whether they come and bring these brand food places. If you got the money on your books, then you can go ahead and buy you whatever they're selling. And if you don't, say if your family ain't putting no money on your books and you got a whole class of Chick-fil-A in cafeteria, that would cause an issue. So you need to take your stuff to yourself.
But I don't think that this particular time that I saw that was the case. This dude was just like in there pimping.
Well, he probably got it from the CEO or something.
Yeah, he was in there pimping.
And they Chick-fil-A nuggets.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, speaking of the CEO, because again, we have conversations and we just go off on tangents. I did see a story recently where this young mother, she was a correctional officer. She actually got jail time because she was handing it out to the inmates.
I'm pretty sure that happens often.
Yeah, but this time she went to jail. Like normally,
when I tell you, it happens so often. I mean, so often. Not anybody. The people that I knew that were there. I'm not gonna put nobody out there, but that wasn't an issue. Sex has never been an issue. They gonna get it at all times. From different people. And those women are so committed to those men, they start becoming a part of the family. They will put money on the whole correction officer, which you will get time. They will put money on their books. They will become a full-fledged relationship. I'm telling you, they will be showing up, multiple women showing up, correction officers. Hey, we're in love.
Well, yeah, I did hear a story before with a lady who worked for the correctional. She was a correctional officer, and she helped the man escape.
Yes.
Helped him escape the prison.
Yeah.
Got her Buick and smashed out.
They are very manipulative. And I think, let's just be honest, these are criminals. And so a lot of them have to be smart. Some of them get caught because someone told on them, not because they did or made a mistake, but someone told. So that's how they get caught up. But these men are so manipulative, and they prey on weakness of women and even other men inside as well. And they get them to do things, and then they find out what you need. If it's attention, compliments, and
they calculated. Ooh, they calculated.
And that's
they calculated, very calculated. I was going to be a correction officer at Dawson, which is no longer available at Dawson Jail in Dallas. And the number one thing, even when I did my walkthroughs, my first trials, the number one thing was do not let them talk to you, because they will make you feel bad. Even though they're a bad person, they will manipulate. You'll be off. And we're going to say it. My husband is here, but I'm still going to say it. Some women find some of the most attractive men are in prison.
Yes, Lord.
So when you're a woman who doesn't have anybody that ever compliments you, no one's really talking to you.
This dude, you're lonely. Is like snatched.
They work out all day. That's what they do.
He's a good-looking dude, and he knows exactly what to do. Next thing you know, you be in the hall closet, risking it all, bringing in drugs and everything. Girl, you know you're gonna risk it all. Bringing in everything.
That was like the number thing. Don't talk to him. My uncle used to be like, because he's a detective now, but he was a cop that trained me. He was like, do not talk to. So when I would walk in, they'd be like, hey, ma'am. I'd just be.
See, I'm gonna be the wrong person to be a correction officer, because I talk to everybody. And you know me. I'd be like, girl, I got to quit.
Hey, what's up, Miss Brandy? What you doing today?
Yeah, I had to quit because a dude is C1688. He fine. So I'd be like, I gotta quit my job.
Wait, this ain't gonna work.
I'm about to lose my job.
This ain't gonna work.
But on a serious note, but this is exactly what Nikko did, because he actually he has a plethora of women inside and outside who want to marry him.
He got a whole wife.
Yes, he got married. He was in there, and if y'all see the picture of his wife,
she looked almost like him with all those tattoos on her face.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, baby. I'm Mrs. Jenkins. If you out in the world, I don't mean to talk about you bad. If you out.
But get that to girl.
But there was there was a guard, a female guard, that what you were saying, Jackie, she would talk to him because he's without his tattoos, he would have been prison bait. I'm not lying. If he didn't have the tattoos, he'd be prison bait, like the dude with the blue eyes, Jeremy Meeks. So I can understand, like, she's in there with him, and he's walking around, he's talking to her, and he's got this real slick, attitude and personality. I can understand. So he's very intimidating. So you've got the fear factor, and you've got the personality. And as a psychopath, you cannot. Their confidence is unmatched.
This is the thing I want to ask.
Not to be.
That I want to ask you guys. So, because he was, a little crazy, and they said he was schizophrenic, and he was talking to this serpent god and all this stuff, and the courts were having a problem trying to find out if he was insane or not to be brought up on death penalty charges. Mm-hmm. They were saying that some people believe that when he knew that he was going to be going to court to try to be found sane or not, that he would mutilate himself. Do you guys think that he was just crazy out of his mind, and that just happened? He just happened to mutilate himself just because, or do you think he was timing it to when he would have to go to prison and where he would be found sane or insane for the death penalty?
I think both. I think the reason I say both is because technically he didn't get help like he needed when he was younger because he went through a lot. But also at the same time, once we become older, we still have to take responsibility for our actions. You have to take responsibility for what you did, and you know you did it, and then you played on your past to help you like try to get through the case. Like, okay, well, you know what? It's because I didn't. Matter of fact, he said a lot. It's because I didn't get the help I needed when I was younger. So this is why I'm doing this. You can't do that. You got to take responsibility because you know you ain't supposed to be doing it.
Because at that point, if you're saying that I didn't get the help that I needed, then you knew something wrong with you. I really think that as a psychopath,
Yes,
that he does
that's
not,
it.
he knows exactly what he needs to do in order to get what he wants, and he's willing to do that. I don't think he's insane. I just think that he's a psychopath. So I don't think he's insane. I think he's entirely cognizant of everything that he does, and he maps out the reaction. He knows he's not going to get out of prison. But, and I don't think he really cares to, but I think he gets off on the shock value. He gets off on being able to make people do what he wants them to do, regardless of whether we think that, why are you cutting your penis? Well, to him, it's just a penis. He can't use it that much there anyway. It's whatever. I'm going to do this because I know you are going to be bothered by it.
So you don't think it's the serpent God telling him in his mind to do?
Nah, he might have attached himself to, attached himself to it, or read about it and said that this is where I'm getting my personality from. We think we all do that, some sort of fictional character, fantasy character, just like what we do with astrology. We're like, I'm a Sagittarian, so I have the traits of the Sagittarian. Whether you actually do or not, you adopt them. So
I do think go ahead. I'm sorry.
I do think that he does know what he's doing, because since he's been given the death penalty, he's tried to commit suicide so many times, and he hasn't died yet.
Right.
So.
Yeah,
and also, is that go-to? Is the go-to demonic? Because if you look at some of the really psychopaths, criminals or murderers, one of their main go-tos is Satan. That's the go-to. I was watching on Netflix Night Stalker, and even his go-to was Satan.
Okay, so is that Richard Ramirez?
No, he evil.
We're gonna talk about Richard Ramirez in a future episode. He's different.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm just saying, like, that's kind of like a goat. It's easy.
It's easy for society to say that you're demon possessed because we have no explanation for why you act like.
Well, that man got a demon. I don't care what y'all say. He is demon possessed.
Nikko, Nikko's not right.
Yes,
yeah, that's what. So I think that he knows that they're going to assign this to me, because what we want to do, I think this is also a purpose of religion, is we want to have an explanation for the reason why we act the way we do.
Yes, good one.
And if you use a demonic persona, then you could say he's a demon. This is why people died under Salem witch trial. The milk spoiled, so it has to be a demon. It can't just be something natural. It can't just be this person is born like this or this person acts this way. We have to be able to assign it to something in context. Like I said, AOL. You have to give it context. It can't just exist by itself. It can't just be that this person is evil. There has to be an outside source that made him this way. So I think that's what that is. And then this Adolphus, I had never heard of this Egyptian deity, but of course there's hundreds. That was a way for him to maybe explain himself to himself. Like this person or this deity looks like me or acts like me, so maybe I'll attach myself to it. I don't know.
I think he got a straight up demon. I think he got some other issues too, but he definitely got him a demon.
Now, I'm not gonna argue with that point because
he said he'd be talking back and forth with them.
Yeah, I'm not. You know me. I believe.
I'm supposed to just say, oh, he's schizophrenic or whatever, but
he's evil.
I believe in the other.
It's a level of evilness in him. So I believe, just because it's what I believe, to have that kind of evilness in you, just to be killing folks just because, just messing up your body and stuff like that. It's some evil in there. It's some evil in there. So it is associated with some kind of.
You need to spread them fingers more for a larger amount. You had a little minuscule finger.
Okay, like
yeah.
Then the bad part of it about his murders, I mean, it's all bad, but he didn't get anything for it. He didn't rob these people for money, for drugs, for street cred. They just did.
And I think the big thing with him, I mean, his killing those people became secondary because of the antics and the stuff that he was doing while he was in jail and in prison, that it became a whole other story where it wasn't even, I mean, we know in our mind that he killed these people, but just when you watch the news clips,
it becomes about him.
It's about him and why he's cutting himself and he's doing these weird
and Brandy,
things.
You brought up before the show, before we started recording, that his narcissism. And so it becomes, and you see this with a lot of psychopaths and sociopaths, that it's about me. I do this because I need attention. So I don't think that psychopaths and sociopaths are so unaffected as we would think, because narcissism to me is some sort of an emotional response.
Ooh, but
you need attention. Even though that you seem unaffected, you do things for attention because you didn't even get money. You're doing this because you need attention. And I want to be known as this. I want to be this person. What are you getting from this? And when we did Michelle Blair, is that Michelle Blair? Is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Michelle Blair. We are barely able to call the name of her children, but we know who she is.
Right.
We don't know the names of Ted Bundy's victims, but we know Ted Bundy. We don't know who Richard Ramirez killed, but we know Richard Ramirez. Because their narcissism says you need to know me. And the more I do in this courtroom now, Jackie, I don't know if you remember, Brandy and I are from California, so I remember the terror of having to lock our doors and not being able to go outside when Richard Ramirez was here. And I also remember his trial and the things that he did during his trial. They deliberately the courtroom because they want the attention on them. And then when they're in prison, they further do things to get the attention. So when the press dies down, especially with this guy, press dies down, he do something else.
He does something
back in the courtroom. I need to do something else. I need the judge to be, and I know those cameras are going to be there. I need to do that. The cutting and defecation and all that nastiness. It's done to get attention, because if you're in that cell for 23 hours a day, ain't nobody paying attention to you. They flip that little thing every 15 minutes to check on you, and that's it. They don't have time. So if I need attention, then I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something that causes them to come back here.
Yeah, like he tried to kill himself 15 something times and he hasn't died yet. Like, he doesn't want to die, clearly.
And
he's not planning. No, he doesn't want to die, but he definitely wants the attention, because you don't try to kill yourself that many times and ain't
succeeded.
Yeah.
And just hopping back, when I really finished reading a document on Richard Ramirez, let me say, I felt that is sad. I was scared for everyone, anybody that lived in his facility from LA to what was this, San Francisco, San Diego? I can't remember right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But anybody
in the entirety of California
within 10 hours, within 500, it didn't matter. The whole state of California should have been scared.
We were.
He didn't have. Well, I'm not gonna do it, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, we were. Because
y'all were in it.
Absolutely. I can say that, I grew up in the city, not a bad neighborhood, but it wasn't, everyone knew each other on that block. We used to sleep in the living room with the screen door open, with the door open with just the screen door, in the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
Windows open because, if you were a certain family in those areas, no one bothered you because you don't, that's this family, that's this family. But that summer, during that time, it was so scary that it was, we need to walk you to your car. Just like going from my grandmother's front porch to the car, which is on the street. We need to walk you to the car. Because you didn't know what he looked like. You didn't know where he was going to come from. You knew he was going to come in through a window and he would be barefoot. You didn't really know. And so now you're locking your doors. It was scary. And I was a kid, but it was really, really scary. So, we will talk about Richard Ramirez in the next coming weeks, about the fear there. And he also, a lot of serial killers, spree killers, and narcissists and psychopaths, they kind of look at other people that came before them. And I think, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but I think that they look at these people and they say, I can do life. I can do better than him. I'm going to do him, but I'm going to do him better. And you look at these court antics and you're like, I'm going to, this is how they stayed relevant. This is how they got privileges. This is how they got out of their cells sometimes. So I think that although Nikko Jenkins is certifiably an evil ass demon, I still think that Nikko Jenkins is still human enough to seek attention and approval. Mm-hmm. Even if that approval is from a criminal community, he seeks to be at the top of the food chain. As far as that goes, he wants to be at the top of the pyramid, and quite frankly, I think he is. Definitely. Now, he was convicted, I think 2013 or 2014, really fairly quickly, mm-hmm. and by the jury and the judge. But then in 2017, there was a 3-judge panel that went back and gave him the death penalty. I have never heard of that. Like, you get convicted, you get your life sentence, and you should be done. No, they go back in and they're like, no. We're giving, because here's the thing with life in prison. If one of those cases falls apart, they all fall apart. Then mm-hmm. you get the possibility of parole. With the death penalty, if something falls apart, then you still get life without parole. But yes, he got the death penalty in 2017, a couple years after he had already been convicted. He also filed a suit against the state of Nebraska for like $25 million. The audacity. He filed a $25 million suit against the state of Nebraska for letting him out of prison in the first damn place. Because he said, basically, if you hadn't let me out, I wouldn't have did it.
Blame them. Blame.
But this is America. We can sue anybody for anything. And we can blame everybody.
Blame them for him murdering those people.
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm. So, do we have anything else about Mr. Jenkins? Well, his mother was convicted, was given a 10-year sentence for basically helping him out, aiding and abetting or something like that. His sister got life plus 80 years.
Wow.
She got the 80 years because she attacked another inmate. The other inmate that she attacked was her cousin, which was the accomplice in the crimes in the first place. She got 80 years on top of it. The cousin actually testified again. She attacked her, so she got life. plus 80 because she attacked her accomplice, which is her cousin.
These folks.
This family right here.
Oh boy. Okay.
And there's like other sisters. They are unapologetic in their loyalty to crime and mayhem. I mean, I guess if you're gonna do it right, do it all the way in. And they were all in. All in. You know, it's a crazy story. And the reason why we did the story this week is because, again, he's showing up on TikTok, and I don't think people really know who Nikko Jenkins is. So on TikTok, there's the small snippet of him being in court with his sunglasses on, and he whips his head around like this. They show him walking into court, you know, chest out, really proud, and then he sits down and he's looking straight ahead, but then he whips his head to the side, and then people look, you know, in the duet or the stitch, people look away from him because you don't want to look in the face. So it's funny, but I don't think people know who Nikko Jenkins is. So I was like, he fits into what we're going to do. So what I will do is get that TikTok video and post it to our Instagram and Facebook page so you can see the look of Nikko Jenkins. So that is the look of truly what we consider a truly evil person and a demon.
Pretty much.
Period.
I think he has a fear of death because he was just wilding before he had his court dates. I think, and even though he's killing himself, I think he's doing that for attention because he's bored. But I really think that he is afraid of death. That's why he was doing all that stuff to seem crazy.
It's crazy because often those who commit the most horrendous crimes don't want to die. When it comes down to it, they really don't want to die. I think most people, again, I can't really say, but personally, I think that most people who commit crimes like that, they are wishing that they die in the commission of the crime, because that solidifies you in the books, you know, as a true criminal or somebody who went down with the ship. But then you also don't have to face any consequences. And often the consequences are much worse than what they anticipate, and you stay in prison longer, and you have to face people who are worse than you. And I think I know that there are people worse than Nikko Jenkins. You know, and that's something to think about, that there are worse people than Nikko Jenkins. So there's always someone badder than you on the inside. So you have to face that. So they don't want to. They just want to, you know, die in a blaze of glory. And fortunately, they don't. And we end up with demons who don't want to die. One of the comments that I saw on the videos I was watching on YouTube was like, maybe he's already dead, but people are afraid to tell him. So, you know, maybe they already killed him, but don't nobody really want to tell him that he's dead. Just crazy stuff. But, you know, if you look at the comments on the videos on YouTube, they're often better than the actual videos themselves. So we will go ahead and end this week our show on Nikko Jenkins. I will be posting some pictures and videos of Nikko so you guys can see exactly what we're talking about. And then next week, or in the coming weeks, we will be doing Rich Ramirez. Some of the stories that we have on deck, and I will tell you. Let's go.
Yeah.
To our folder. Some of the things that we have on deck coming up are Peter Sutcliffe, who is the Yorkshire Ripper out of England. We have Samuel Little, who was the most prolific killer. He recently passed away in December of 2020. The Grim Sleeper. We have COINTELPRO, which is part of the FBI investigation on a lot of people. Billy Austin Bryant, Sam Cooke, unsolved murder.
Waiting.
The Texas servant girl murders that happened. They're Jack the Ripper style murders that happened in like 1894, 1895. Sarah Bartman. If y'all don't know who Sarah Bartman is, she is the model for.
We're doing Sarah Bartman, yes.
We're gonna do Sarah Bartman. She is a South African woman who was grossly exploited. So we will talk about her. We will talk about Fred Hampton. Black Panther Party leader who was gunned down in his bed. So we will talk about him, and there's an upcoming movie about him. So we will talk about Fred Hampton, the Wall family murders. We'll talk about Jonestown. We will talk about O.J. Simpson. We're not going to really give a lot of facts about. I mean, we'll talk about the facts, but we just really going to talk about our people.
Pretty much.
That's all we're going to do.
Pretty much.
We're just going to talk about did O.J. do it. We will also talk about the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing in 1963.
Yeah.
Lisa Renee kidnapping and murder. We'll talk about old Hollywood crimes.
Ooh.
Yes, we're into some old Hollywood stuff. And then, of course, Richard Ramirez and the Night Stalker murders. Again, if y'all have any suggestions on what we should talk about, things that you want to know about, please email us at info@blackcoffeecrime.com. Put it on our Facebook page at Black Coffee Crime, also Instagram, or put it in the notes or comments for any of our YouTube videos. We will receive those and respond in kind. So we will end our show on that note. And as always, be safe, be blessed, and enjoy that second cup. All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.